and she is actually back in, is it New York? Is she in New York? No. She's in a play as we speak. So she said she couldn't be here tonight. So anyway, we appreciate our audience members that are here tonight, and we appreciate our city council members. It's a busy season. Everybody has a million things to do, so we appreciate everybody being here. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance now. Josh Polson would lead us, and so if you can.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I've asked Janelle Seeley if she would give us a prayer tonight, unless we have someone in the audience that would like to do that.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful to be gathered tonight as citizens and members of the Providence City community. We're grateful to be able to gather and discuss the needs and issues of our residents and to serve them. We're grateful for the beauty that surrounds us, for this valley, and for the safety that we feel here, and pray that we can make wise decisions and that we can be considerate of the needs that are presented before us and be responsive to our residents. We're grateful for the opportunity to serve and to work together as a council. We pray that will help us to have a spirit of civility and kindness as we work together this evening. In the name of my Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. We certainly need all the help that we can get. We put our council report at the very beginning, so that's usually when we have the most people here. Instead of having the council reports at the end where no one is here except the staff. And so I would like to do that first. And is anyone that wants to start out their report? Okay, Janelle.
I attended the Broadband Advisory Committee meeting for the State of Utah Department of Economic Development in Salt Lake last week. And they talked a lot about, a lot of presentations were about technology and education and resource access for students. I had a Cache County Library Board meeting last night, and they talked about potentially expanding into a different building in River Heights. We're going to look into the building that they have available that would be quite a bit larger than what we currently have. We have an interlocal agreement between River Heights and Providence to provide the facilities, so I'll let you know how that panned out. And we're looking to have the youth council do a scene in the North Logan Pumpkin Walk for to advertise the library, and do that in conjunction with the youth council in River Heights. And I have a meeting next week with our Healthy Cities Committee. Appreciate the mayor's referral. We have a chair for that, Brian McLaughlin, so we appreciate his time, willingness to serve there, and we have several community members that are planning to attend that and work on that. The school district, they resume their meetings tonight. I'm not there, but they're going to have a report on their building task force, so I'll follow up and let you know if they have any facility plans, change plans for our area. And working on, I'm going to work on I wrote an article for the newsletter on crosswalks that should come out in August. We did have an incident in the spring where one of the crossing guards got clipped in the crosswalk. So we're going to try and refresh everyone on the rules of law and how to drive properly in a crosswalk, or not drive in a crosswalk, I should say.
Well, she got clipped on the side of the head with a mirror, which means that the car was way too close. So that's not good.
So I wrote an article for that, and that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate your efforts, particularly with the economic development people, with the Technology Committee, so it's good to have that. It's good to have them know who we are as well. So who's next? Josh?
I'll go. I don't have a ton. The Historic Preservation Committee didn't meet last month, so hopefully they'll be on for this month. I did attend the Cache County Trails Committee meeting, and two items of note there is that committee is looking to put a bond in place in the ballot, and it costs households about $30 each household, about $30 a year. But they're looking for about $20 million to bond in total to build out various trails and open space requirements. So more to come on that. And I also found Logan City Planning is working on some ordinance changes related to trails, just how trails and open space should be handled around rivers and you know, aquarium spaces like that. And I'm not saying she's the wrong word. The riparian corridor is what they call it. I'm not sure what that word means, but I think it means like lizards and fish and things of those sort of things. So, but it kind of, I think we should keep an eye on that. Russ Hawley, who some of you are familiar with him, he'll have an ordinance. We have to just kind of look, because I think we're going to have that opportunity here as well as we work. You know, we've got some river frontage across the highway and things, and what
We have some awesome opportunities, I think, to do that.
Yeah.
By the way, Carrie just announced she's resigning. Carly, she's resigning.
Oh, is she?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. You said Carrie, and I was
No.
like, what?
Carly.
Oh,
Curly Lance
In the county.
at the
Yeah,
county
she's
trails.
At the county
Carly-
trail.
Carly
And
Lance,
she's
yeah,
done
County Trails.
an incredible job and brought a lot of money to the county,
Oh, I
but
didn't hear that.
so
Good.
she just sent out an email today. So
Okay.
we'll have to keep an eye on who's coming in.
Yeah, and then I don't know what still Carrie's thunders, but she's not here. The concert went really well on Monday. I think people really loved the venue, and yeah, I thought the band was fantastic. Little saxophone in there was cool. Pizza worked well. So, and I know she would want us to plug the next one. There's not one in August, and there's one in September. So.
So everyone,
Well,
we have a
fun.
concert in the park in September, and they're a lot of fun. They're free. Come sit on the lawn and enjoy the music.
Yeah. So that's it for me this month. We're
Great.
light.
Thanks, Josh. Okay.
Want to report that the Spring Creek is holding up very well. The water out of the canyon's holding up very well. We're pleasantly surprised. We thought might see some taper off by now, but it's really been holding up well. I think the city's getting there.
City is drawing some of that water, and that is good. And it we're drawing as much water out of Broad Hollow as we ever have. So I think that's a great collaborative effort between the city and the Spring Creek Water Company. We appreciate that. Coordinated. What's that?
I'm knocking on wood.
We're continuing it. So anyway, very, very pleased that it's working out for both, and it really is going well. So we appreciate their effort and everybody's. So
A lot nicer to have it run downhill than to push it up.
Yeah.
Run it back down. So we're very happy with it.
A lot less expensive.
And you know, where a lot of areas in the valley are very dry, we are pleasantly surprised that the springs are holding up as well as they are. They're just amazed. So,
Although we still want people to be cautious with water and use it wisely.
yeah, we're not opening the floodgates.
No.
Yeah, it's good. The other thing is, talking with Ryan, he is, with the new fiscal year, we've tapped into the budget to print up the brochures for emergency preparedness, fridge magnets, and we're out west.
I have the magnets.
You got the magnets?
So we're just waiting for the brochures to get there. So anyway, yep. So just a refresher.
Those will put our groups back together and get those out and get them underway and get them out to the citizens. So, and like Josh said, the Historic Preservation Committee didn't meet, so we didn't do anything more on the floor painting or anything like that. And that's about all I have to report.
Great, thank you. Jeff?
I don't know if this is how summer usually goes, but summer had some, I haven't been to too many meetings. I know they canceled the planning and zoning last week, right? So no meeting there. The Housing Crisis Task Force, I think we're going to be presenting to us is that
In
next
August,
month.
yes.
So
Sean Milne is going to do that.
Who's, at what level is that task force?
it's a countywide.
Countywide.
Yeah, so-
Countywide made up of city leaders, county leaders,
Okay.
church
Builders,
people,
developers.
right, all sorts of people.
And for some reason, I've been thinking of what, I don't know her first name, Mrs. Drew said a while back about
Annette.
Drew said about measurable goals. And I was kind of looking back at my goals, wondering, are they measurable? What can I do? And one of my goals was to increase my understanding of what the city of Providence, the citizens of Providence, would like the role of their local government to be. So way back when, I kind of started out with a plan of coming up with a system throughout the city where we could gather information or opinions of the people and share information with them. Some sort of system that would be independent of the city. And so I've been working on that. I'm trying to come up with a plan. And I'm working on that, so. But I don't have
Good time to
much,
do it when you're not in school, right?
right, yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, each of you, for your reports. Takes a lot of time and effort to be a city council person and to attend meetings and to make sure that things are done and that we're well represented in the community. Just a couple of items that I have. Bob Perry has resigned from the Planning Commission. He's done a wonderful job. He's worked as a not only a member, but as a chair, and then he stepped back to being a member, but has something that conflicts now with Wednesday night. So he stepped down, resigned. And we interviewed such good candidates for the last go around, the last openings that we had, that we reached back and offered the position to Kyle Berry, and he was not able to be here tonight. So we'll meet him next time and he'll talk to us a little bit. You can ask some questions. So we're happy that we had such good candidates.
Kathleen, does the council vote on those?
Yes.
Okay, so that vote will be when he comes later.
Right, when he's able to answer questions, and you'll have a resume and see what he's done. I have applied for and been accepted to be on the board of the Land Conservation. It's just a newly formed group. It was a House bill that was passed, and when they sent me the letter, Governor Cox sent me a letter congratulating me for being on the committee. But it will focus on the efforts to optimize and preserve the uses of the land for the benefit of the state's agricultural industry and natural resources. So that should be really interesting. We have our first meeting on Tuesday, so I'll report on some of the things that we're doing in that committee, but it's a brand new thing that was just done by the legislature. So it'll be interesting to get that set up and going. So with that, we will now go to the approval of the minutes. We have the minutes of our June 15th, 2022 meeting. And I will accept a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for June 15th, 2022.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Janelle, a second by Brent. Any discussion? Any changes? Anything that you
I have a
see?
couple.
Okay.
On line 167, 168, I don't actually know how my comment reads in the thing, but I'd have to actually look at exactly what it says. Brian's getting there from, yeah. Right, but it says that if there's a way to make public comments less thematic and more palatable through code amendments, but that's not really what I was saying, is that I felt like the comments were thematic and that we should respond to those themes with code. I don't know
Couple
how
keywords
less
left
came
out.
in there. Anyway, but the public hearings are pretty thematic. And I sent some wording to Ryan, but I think he was gonna.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's been updated.
Okay.
Not on this one, but on the one that you will sign. I copied and pasted from her email what she would want, as well as the other one. Yeah.
And then line 308 is just a typo. Should say put rather than that.
So I only have one comment. I was coming back to the States when this has happened. I think I just caught the last motion or
You
two.
did.
And so you see my vote in there on that last motion, but we might just want to annotate in case people were wondering, they're like absent, and then I voted on the last one. So it might be worth annotating when I
I
join.
thought we had that in there, but
I think I put it at the top, and maybe I put it.
On the attendance, I think.
Yeah, I did something there, but
At the very top? Oh, okay. I was looking midstream about when it had happened. Okay, thank you.
if you'd like, I could put it like right in kind
No,
of.
that's fine, as long as it's accounted for, yeah. But I will abstain from the vote since I wasn't present for most of the meeting, yeah.
okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Oh,
And one abstention.
and one abstention. So we had 3 votes and 1 abstention because he was not here. Okay, we now have an opportunity for the public to make comments that have to do with anything within the city that is within our purview and not really attached to any of the other items that we have on here. So do we have anyone that would like to make public comment? We take good comments, compliments. We like all that kind of stuff. You have to come to the mic to say that. You wanted to speak on the mic before. Okay, all right. Okay, so not having any public comment, we'll close that section of the meeting. We do not have any public hearings tonight. So our first item on the agenda then, our second item is the Providence City Culinary Water Master Plan. And Steve Wood is here from,
Sunrise
Sunrise.
Engineering.
sorry. And so Ryan, do you want to like introduce it a little bit, and Steve can be here to answer questions if anybody has any, or?
You just introduce, this has been ongoing for almost a year. It has a mass amount of work has gone into this, identifying all the different ones. It was presented in last month's council meeting and has been available to the public and the council for review. We did receive some grammatical comments, and I don't believe we received any real significant modifications. And I think there was some change, and you can talk to any of those changes. And so if there was any change from that, let's have you visit with that. So.
I'm Stephen Wood from Sunrise Engineering, and I'm going to be as brief as possible because last month I took way too much.
We
So,
appreciate that, as long as you cover everything that needs to be covered.
yeah, I watched the in terms of the water master plan, like Ryan said, not much has changed other than grammatical corrections, as well as Janelle gave me a comment concerning the transparency between the transportation master plan and the water master plan, just because the pipes go underneath the road and the roads need repaired at some time. So what I did is I took your transportation master plan and went line item by line item to identify where those were being located. And then in the recommended capital improvement projects for the water master plan, I identified which ones intersected with transportation plans, their street name, their intersection name. Whether you combine those at certain times or not, that is up to a budgetary council decision, but I did identify which ones do intersect with transportation plans.
And you know, she's a fellow engineer.
Yes. So I know that that was one comment from the council, so I want to make sure that was addressed in there.
Thank you. That's a great thing to think about, because when you repair roads, it does affect the water.
Yes. So, other than that, there was no comments that I ended up receiving from the council and staff. Is there any comments that are still out there that the council would like me to address?
Okay, so we can take action on this tonight.
Questions I can answer? Other than that,
Great. Steve, thank you. It was a very complete, thorough job, and I appreciated the information. It was good to hear about it, and I don't know. Water is so necessary for life. And so the fact that we have a plan now is good. Thank you.
I felt like it was very readable. I feel like anybody could read it and understand.
You might say it flowed very well.
How much better compliment do you get than that?
not much better than that.
Okay, I will entertain a motion then.
I'll make a motion that we approve the water master plan as presented.
Okay, we have a motion by Brent Spath.
I guess you want that resolution. Would that be?
Sure.
Or the number on
We
it.
always like the resolution in your motion.
Yeah. I will make a motion with resolution 012-2022 Providence City Culinary Water Master.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve. And
Second.
Jeff, we've got a second by Jeff. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Item number 3 is property acquisition for sidewalk along 100 South Roadway. Providence City Council will review, discuss, and may take action on acquiring an additional 8 feet of property along 100 South, parcel 02-096-0009, with the condition by the owner that Providence City agrees to install a sidewalk within this piece of property. So, Ryan, you want to bring us up to speed?
I think that was a great explanation. We are currently working on 100 South. When we went to the application process and through the application process, we applied for the ability to put in sidewalk on both sides. Currently, we didn't have the right of way, but we perceived that in our crystal ball that this possibility might happen. And so it was encompassed in that application. So it can, and it is a fundable option. It is eligible for funding through it. And so we can put this through that grant. It does help for her future development. So that's benefit to her. At this point, if we want to say, if the council wants to decide to not do it, that's obviously an option. She's just asking that if we want the extra. Right now, admittedly, it is a sidewalk to nowhere. But ultimately, we expect that this sidewalk would connect on 200 West all the way up to Zollinger Park. And once that happens, then it will connect in and flow. It will flow well in the future, but it will look like it's a current sidewalk to nowhere. But a sidewalk has to start somewhere, and that's where we're looking at it for this one. So anyway,
I'll tell you what I like about that. Even though it's a sidewalk to nowhere, it sets a precedent, and it prepares the way for other people to go, oh, that would be nice to have that go all the way. If we don't put it at all, then no one sees that as a possibility. So I like it for that reason. And the fact that we have money already budgeted, and came to us as a grant, I think we ought to set that precedent.
Probably be the same sidewalk to nowhere along our parking lot.
Yes, yes, well, our parking lot
You
will,
should pull up a picture. I think you guys are trying to follow where we're at.
sure, that's fair, we'll get it.
It'll go to 200 West, right?
It's on the
It
corner.
was- it was the same parking lot, though.
So we have
Yeah,
the Thompson property.
Oh, that piece,
And
okay.
so where they're putting in parking on that side, that we'll put in.
So
Sidewalk.
we will put in the sidewalk on the park annexation here. There will be a sidewalk that'll come through. Eventually, we'll pull a trail or a sidewalk up towards this trail that'll fit here. So this one won't be a sidewalk to nowhere for long. It eventually will attach, as we finish this park, it will attach up to the trail that comes through Zollinger Park. So it will service and you can walk the loop or whatever. This property is the one we're talking about here on the corner. And we're talking along this north side of the road. And it will be on the south here and tie in, and we'll probably curve it around so it'll be ready, depending on the water or whatever. There is some other conflicts in this, but ultimately, we see Center Street as being a walkway to the elementary school. And as it connects up to the park, to the walkway that goes through, we'd like to eventually finish that. And that would put us, just a couple of houses. And then if the county will help us, we'd like to finish along the park so that you can walk. At that point, you could walk all the way around the park. You could walk through the park to the Macy's. You could walk through the park we'll connect it. And it will be connected through the park. So, but that's
When we do
That's eventually.
When we do roundabouts, that'll be an even busier road, so we'll want to have sidewalks there for the kids to walk on.
right. And a roundabout is expected to come at 200 West Highway or County Road 238 and First North. So, and then the next roundabout would be down to Third South. So.
Benefit. In the construction, you have the whole south side will have a used on the south side.
Yes.
The north side doesn't.
So those other 3 homes, would they need to sell the additional 8 feet
These-
to line up the sidewalk on the north side?
On the north side, yes.
They would need to.
If we were to do that, we haven't asked them. And this didn't come as an ask. It was just because we're there and she's saying, hey, I may develop at some point, might as well work with the city to do it now than later. But these other 3, that would be an option for them, but we haven't pushed or asked at this point to require that. They have agreed to have enough right of way for a curb and gutter and a 4-foot park strip. So in order for us to go the full sidewalk, it'd be another 8 feet.
Something that
Sorry.
may develop at some point.
She is expected that she may develop at some point. Yeah, she's already applied once.
If she develops, she's responsible for paying.
Absolutely.
Sidewalk.
That's correct. That's correct. And she realizes that if she does it now, she
has to pay
saves.
for it.
Yes, that is, yes, want that to be totally transparent. Yes, absolutely, that's the case.
I seem to remember when we bought that property initially, what the there's like a price per square foot or something like that. What is the rate? Do you recall what the rate was paid for that and what the rate is? The letter that's included in here doesn't have a rate.
Yeah,
attached to it.
so
As a point, if we're talking about property acquisition price, do we need to be in
Exactly.
So if it is a very,
discussion of whether it's a good thing or not a good thing? I see things going on in council meeting. But if we're starting to talk dollar amount,
well,
do we purchase it?
so let me refer that. So she is asking for the same price we paid her for the last 8 feet we bought. And that price, because she is asking and set at a price, is $4,728.80. To your point, if we don't agree to that price and want to have a negotiation, the negotiation or discussion of any piece to the agreement, we need to take into a closed session.
Total price is a little bit $4,000.
So yes, so that is, she's asking, and in her letter, she says, I would accept at the same price you gave me for the last 8 feet. So that's the number she would have inferred in her letter, just to tell you what that number is that was inferred in her letter. So that is her offer to us. If we want to negotiate or do anything different than that, then yes, we should go into closed session for any discussion about potential land purchases or the discussion, because then we don't inflate the plot price or something else to it. So, but yes, to your point, that's when we would go in.
So I will entertain a motion on this, and then we can discuss if we need to, that, anything except the price to negotiate
Right.
with that.
If you want to talk about price, then that's a closed session one we need to go back to.
So,
I'm not sure. I can make a motion, but I'm looking at the wording of the agenda item, property acquisition.
additional property.
I'm just wondering, because we're not approving, our intent to proceed with or not to proceed with it. We're not approving a purchase contract here. It's not listed that way in the agenda.
Taking action on acquiring additional property, you would take action and approve the acquisition of the acquisition of that 8-foot property.
And
That's
then
the action you would take.
have the authority though to sign that, look at the terms of that contract and sign it.
Yeah, and then the mayor signs it. But yes,
Okay.
I would have
I
negotiation to
understand.
negotiate, but mayor signs. She signs on land. So,
Okay. I will make a motion that we approve the property acquisition for sidewalk along 100 South Roadway between Providence City and the home
Please.
at the agreed upon price. Thank you. We'll whisper in my ear there.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I
I
Great. We're clipping right along, girls. Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 4, Parkview Heights Development and Public Improvement Agreement. Providence City Council will review, discuss, and may take action on a development and public improvement installation agreement with Parkview Heights subdivision. In keeping with the city's water master plan that we just approved, the city would like to install a 10-inch water line in conjunction with this development. The developer has agreed to install the line along with their development. So Ryan, do you want to give us?
I do. I'll give you a kind of an overview, and then if we have specifics into the agreement, we'll pull Scarlett into that. Development agreements at this point, if they are inclusive of city participation in the development. So this means we have a cost involved in the development. Those developments come for the review and approval of the city council because you're committing a cost to go towards this. Other development agreements that don't include that are reiterations of law and are more of a checklist than a agreement. And so oftentimes they don't come to the council for agreement. They'll be seen maybe at planning commission. But this one is coming to you specifically because we are looking to put in a 10-inch water line while they are building a road. Now this water line is another water line to nowhere. It's a start, but so it will be there to start with. And then when we put in the rest of it, connecting from this 10-inch through Zollinger Park and connect in and Von Bear Park. Yep, sorry, Von Bear Park. Thank you for that, Von Bear Park. Little whisper in my ear, that helps. And through Von Bear Park, when we connect through that, we will connect to the 10-inch, and it will be a trunk line to our system. And it will connect back to our tanks. So This is an important one. It's a good opportunity to do it while the development's happening, rather than coming in 3 to 5 years from now and digging up the road and putting it in then. So that is why the staff is asking you to agree to this 10-inch. It's the staff request, not necessarily the developer request. So well, we have one already. So we're updating and increasing the size. So we already have one. It's just undersized and yeah.
And then running,
Yeah.
when we need it, we can
Correct.
disconnect it.
Fox Ridge, yep.
Is there any concern about letting it lay for a period of time without using?
Well, we could pressurize it. It just, so it's not that it would necessarily be dry, but it wouldn't go to anywhere until we connect onto it and put it through the park. So
It'll be chlorinated.
yeah, we're going to take care of the pipe. So
Just put a flush hydrant at the end of it, and it would just be on an annual flushing cycle just to keep it fresh.
Okay, that's.
Yeah.
So, and that's pretty common.
Right. So
There'll be no service.
anyway, so we ask for your approval on this one. If you have other questions more specific for the development side, other than the staff request side, then we'll pull Scarlett for
I'll
that.
entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve putting in the 10-inch pipe in this section of that subdivision. Developers.
We have a motion to approve.
I'm sorry, just question on for the motion. We're amending the agreement, right? So it's
We're adding to the agreement. This agreement hasn't,
okay.
but we're
Oh,
adding
the
to
agreement
this.
hasn't been approved, so
No.
it's not an amendment.
It's not an amendment, it's a new agreement.
Okay, but we're approving the whole agreement. I just wanted, he had stated approving the 10-inch water line. So I wanted to be clear that we're approving the development agreement.
Correct,
and it
that's
has
correct.
condition on it. Okay, that was my only point. I think
Good
the
catch.
motion needs to state that we're approving the development.
Do you want to amend?
I'll amend the motion. I'll amend my motion that we approve the agreement with the Parkview Heights Development. That we, for the public works improvement, is that what you'd want? me to say?
And public improvement,
Public
yes.
improvement, yes.
Okay, now we have,
So, sorry. I
we have a
will second-
motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, Josh will second it. Any further discussion? Questions?
I do have just one quick question. There was no water on this property available to be transferred to the city. I see they're doing a fee in lieu of.
My understanding is that they did not acquire shares when they acquired the property. Because
Wendell
shares,
didn't sell them.
I don't know what happened, but my understanding is they were not able to acquire shares, so they'll be doing a fee in lieu. If they were able to acquire shares, then we would probably redo that, but it would be for the same value amount, so
Is it the Lundell property or the Lickey property?
Lundell,
Lundell property.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do you know how many lots they're putting up there? Just my own curiosity. 3,
Yes, fine.
4,
It's 5 or 5.
5.
Is this Parkview? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm here representing the owner of the Parkview, and I run late. I seen it was the last on the agenda. It's already up.
If you'll come up before you talk, if you'll come up and to say your name in that microphone.
Okay.
Right.
Hi, Gary Nielsen. I'm the project manager for the owner, the Barrett, and the other one. So he just asked me to be here. He's sick also. He's got COVID.
Oh, there.
He just come now.
So we're glad he stayed home.
Yeah, I am too. Yeah, so
It,
I
it,
was just here to represent him. And
it is
answer
5
any
lots, right?
It is 5 lots. Yeah. So we wanted to see what was on, I have the development agreement and scanned through it today to kind of catch up on where it was at. Today was the first day I got it, so I think everything in here looks good, other than we're worked on the 10-inch water line. And did he make the shares and the water payment?
I don't know that's been made yet, but we wouldn't have, I don't know that we would expect that until it's
Yeah,
signed,
it's
so.
got the water requirement. On the water requirement, it shows how many acre feet he has or 3,000, yeah, and 11 to 3,000 per acre plus the 34. So he's aware of that in the agreement. I don't know if he surrendered. He had shares, I believe. I think that item is.
So I would ask if anyone has any questions for Mr. Nielsen. If not, we have a motion to approve and a second.
Oh, we're already there. I
Yes.
apologize. I'm late. The city participation in the 10-inch water line. There is some estimates in here that was provided by Cash Landmark to improve that. And I see that the city's going to join in for that improvement of the existing 8-inch that's already in there. Now they've moved to put that 10-inch in. We are real close to, we should have got our numbers back to that pipe from Corn, Maine. A couple of people today, but I didn't get it, but they give us a ballpark.
Yeah,
So Steve's pretty low on this.
once it's bid out, then we'll know for sure. But at
Yeah.
this point, that approves the agreement to move forward.
Yeah,
And
We're
then
just
we
doing
will
the agreement
participate.
that's what I
tonight.
thought. Yeah, no, I just went to, just help you. I'll have it back.
And then we'll
I'll
work
bring it
with you
into
on
the
that.
city once the agreement's ready.
And the staff will take care of
We'll work
that.
on that.
We're
Yeah.
just here to get the
Get the
picture.
development agreement, big picture going and let him get moving forward for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna take a vote unless we've got further questions. Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
I,
100%? Yeah. Motion carries. So we're to item number 5. The city celebration. We're so excited about the city celebration. So we have Nicole Bone and Ashley Poole who are,
Come up here.
yes, you have to come up. So we're all gonna have those shirts actually.
Oh.
wow.
Come up to the, you have to come to the mic. So state your name.
I am Ashley Poole. Hello, nice to meet all of you. First, I wanted to ask you does anybody have any questions before we start into the fun? Yeah.
We'll start into your spiel and if we have questions, we'll tell you.
So we can tell you what we have planned currently. Our
Okay.
week.
Do you want to
of-
hand those things out that Scarlett copied?
This is our
Really rough
a rough draft of what the schedule of events looks like. So you'll see on Monday through Friday, we're having an event called Find the Can, which is going to be a scavenger hunt throughout the city. We're going to highlight different areas of the city and have the text messages come through the Providence pipeline to kind of get more people signed up for that. So we will hide them in Hog Canyon and the Ball Diamond and different areas to take people to different parts of town and highlight some other areas. Tuesday and Wednesday, we have a round robin pickleball tournament that actually is not going to be taking place on the Millville courts. It'll be at our own courts. And signups are ongoing right now for our fun run and pickleball tournament. There are swag bags for
How long are registration open?
till probably the week of. We have
So we have about a month.
we have these cute bags that we have for our registrants that we got donated from the logo shop. And then we have extra shirts and hats and actually a cup that we'll be selling apple beer in. I'm going to get to that. And anyone who makes a purchase will get a bag. So then Thursday, we have the Historic Preservation Committee doing something that we're calling a family walkabout or a family history tour. And they're going to have docents at homes and a map that families can do and kind of mix and mingle and stop and visit in front of these homes, with it ending and beginning at Old Rock Church. And Ralph is going to have Old Rock Church open and tours available. And his wife has her quilt set up Oh, Ixnay on the quilts. But Old Rock Church will be open for people to walk through and visit. Friday is kind of our kickoff of our main events. We have a parade that starts at 5 p.m. and it's going to go from the church on 300 South and Main Street, down Main Street, turn on First Center Street, and it will unload at Zollinger Park. And once you arrive at Zollinger Park, we have food trucks, a live band, and merriment. And the night will end with an all ages dance party. Kathleen's son is going to be our DJ for us. And so that'll be a lot of fun. And then Saturday morning is a full day of events. Beginning at 8 a.m. we have a fun run. There's a 5K course as well as a 1 mile course. And then the scouts are putting on a pancake breakfast fundraiser at Zollinger Park from 8 to 10 a.m. And then we are going to have vendors, food trucks, and a main stage that'll stay set up from Friday night until Saturday. We have 2 musical acts and then a theater company, a jump roping performance, a choir performance happening throughout the day. And also we have a really fun art tent that's going to be set up and a really cool wood mural that'll be created by all these kids who want to come and paint a piece of it. It's going to be called Our Providence, and it can be framed and hung here in the city building at the end of the event. And Saturday night, we're doing a special Stan Checkett's memorial celebration. So we've had his family involved. We have a son who's going to talk for about 5 minutes about his dad. We've hired a fun band, and we are hoping to end the night with the fireworks display. And we're working on that. So we want to let people know about the celebration. We also want them to know that it's a different celebration than they've attended before. It's going to be a lot of fun. Everyone in our committee, we've tried to really bring the focus into families. We want everything. We have free yard games for families. We have families performing on the stage, in the parade. And we also have the free art tent that we really want everybody to come and just enjoy and have a great time.
Isn't that really?
Oh, and we have a couple other things that we want to highlight that we've been working on that we're really excited about.
My name is Nicole Bone, and Ashley and I have thoroughly enjoyed putting this together. We are thrilled. One thing that a lot of people, I think, of Providence has wanted to come back is sauerkraut, the sale of sauerkraut. And back in the day, it was made in the lovely city shed, I believe. Brent Smith was probably a big part of that.
In a big old barrel.
Yeah.
Couple big old barrels.
Houses and sheds and it's been made everywhere.
So we are bringing it back with a local company. It's Bear River Bottling here in Logan, Utah. And they
created this recipe for our event.
Yes.
And it'll be for sale there.
We have, this is the logo. So we have, again, it's Bear River Bottling. They do a lot of hot sauces. I don't know if you've ever seen them. There are a lot of the local supermarkets here. But there's a fancy, just a plain old sauerkraut, and then there's a spicy version. They also have a hot mustard sauce and different things that will be there to purchase, as well as we have Firehouse Pizza doing our broth.
Catering the sauerkraut dinner. So we'll
Yes.
have about 5 food truck options available, but there is a traditional sauerkraut dinner available as one of your food truck options.
So are they going to sell quarts? That's a pint.
Yes.
It's 16 ounces is what the label says.
So this isn't either, actually.
Right. That's a pint.
This is our sample that they made up for us.
So if you have some forks,
If anyone
we are
wants to
happy to
try
share.
the sauerkraut.
But we are really excited to bring this back to the community, and
We're excited to have you.
bring it. Thinking about, and Ryan has been helpful, and Angie has also been really helpful, and
yes,
Shaler has been really great to work with
Most
on the
definitely.
event. So,
and if you have any thoughts or questions or
Oh,
concerns,
so we have these, I just wanted you to see these. So these will be put up around on Sunday, the week that it's starting. And then we have, Providence gave us a budget, but we've also gone out and fundraised some money to make all these events happen. So Kathleen has written a letter that we're going to give to all the businesses, and then they get one of these to put in front of their storefront or their business, just to have more promotion. So,
And like she said, we've been working on this.
The dates aren't on there, are they?
no, the dates are not on either of these. We are printing banners that will have the dates.
Okay.
And,
A schedule of events.
a
that will
schedule
go
of events
on the
banner,
roundabout.
and those won't be able to be recycled, but we feel like that's a good, we need to put the money there. So we also plan to get some number 10 cans and put the label on them, and we'll put them like at the check stands with the schedule of events in them that people can just pick up those flyers. We'll put those at the banks, at Macy's, and different areas where a lot of traffic, they can just pick up. We'll have some at the front desk here. People can just pick up the list of events.
The other night up at the concert, we also announced the city celebration.
Thank
So
you.
they brought that in there. Encourage the people to have that.
Wonderful. I feel like we also will be putting flyers. School starts that week, so I feel like it's a great week for us, weekend to have this.
So in the PTA.
Everybody will be in
packets,
town, right?
yes, PTA packets of the River Heights, BCID and Providence Elementary will have the list of events that's happening that week, and then also an invitation for them to be in the parade if they want.
How about the high school?
No, we haven't,
The high school
Dug
in
into that.
Millville?
Well, we'll probably put
the band will be in the parade. The band.
the high
Ridgeline
school,
band will be in the parade.
Ridgeline, marching band and cheerleaders are in the parade on Friday night.
Oh, it's.
I just can't thank you guys enough. Like, I know how much time that you have put in and how many community members you have brought together to participate in this, and the enthusiasm that you have spread. Like, I really just can't thank you enough for the energy and effort that you've put into it.
We had a sweet experience when we went to go give Glade Davis. He's gonna be our grand marshal for the parade. And we're making a sign for him that can go in his yard that says that he's grand marshal. But we went to go take him a shirt and a hat, and his daughter was telling us that he had his dry clean, his shirt was due into the dry cleaner, and he's been counting down the days, and he's really excited.
Pam was a little worried that we were gonna have him wear that because the t-shirt, she's like, "Oh, he's ready with
He's
his
got his suit
clothes."
and the dry cleaner.
And so he's pretty excited to be our grand marshal. So
Incredible. So do you have a sign up sheet for us?
Yes, so we.
We would like the city council all to make that a priority and be there. We're also going to ask the planning commission members to participate as well.
It's a sign up sheet.
On the list of events so they can come to a council meeting that Wednesday.
So.
Do you want
well,
us to
and
sign
if
up?
each of you
Yeah.
would like,
You're welcome to all of them. Council is also helping us, so.
but we just want you to each be a representative. We have prizes for, say, the pickleball winners. Maluk has donated pillows for us. So each of the pickleball winners will win a pillow. We would love whoever is there that night from the city to present that to them. So you know,
We also are gonna have like an information tent that will need staffing for the entire day on Saturday. So we'll need the youth council, and then some of our committee is gonna help with that, but
and we will have medical staff Friday and Saturday as well. Living Tree Medical is the sponsor for, they will be there for the tent. We're really excited to have them. So,
And the parade that we're going to have on Friday night, we want to hand out candy. We don't want to throw it at people. So we thought that would be a good thing for all of us to do, is to walk along and give candy out.
That's how you and I met, if you remember,
That's right.
throwing
Well, we
candy
were throwing it.
it.
You could bring it
But
up.
we've just, it's just too dangerous.
What are the guidelines with the
No.
parade? I'm just curious as far as.
okay, see that?
Like how many people are going to be in the parade, and what criteria are you looking for someone to participate
there
in the
is
parade?
an application online for the parade on the Providence City website. There's a landing page for just sauerkraut days. And there is a vendor application and then also a parade application. And for the parade, I mean, many things this is our we're calling it our first year. It's at least it's our first year doing this. So several things are just like, we're taking what we can get for the parade and the vendors.
I just wondered, like, if you had told them they should be walking and handing out the candy, or if they're not throwing it from their vehicle.
Good.
This is, okay. So again, there was that experience down in Davis County with the parade, a parade that we need to be aware of and for safety purposes. And again, the mayor, we've talked about this as well. And I don't know the best way to go about it. I don't know if we can tell everybody to say no throwing things. I don't know. Do we have enough clearance, or should we have a staff, the council that's walking on the sides to prevent people from going in? Do we do like a caution tape down? I mean,
How many entries do you have so far?
We are planning to cap it at 40, and I don't know our current number at this moment.
Wow.
I would say 15 to 20 right now, possibly.
Any discussion on that? Knowing what we know.
Shaler has mentioned that some of his staff is going to be helping us like cone off the roads and things like that. And we didn't have the budget to hire like police, and because we were sticking on like our city roads, we thought we could use our city staff to kind of help control the traffic.
Okay, we can get to follow up with that.
Let me know on that one, but the staff can close, our public works can close our roads.
Yeah.
Except for
When-
First North.
Well, we're not gonna be on First North.
Yeah, that's why.
So
That's
the
why we
second
chose
west,
the route
so
we did.
what we need is we need to coordinate with a,
Cross Second West into the parking lot of Zollinger's. That's the only.
that's where we'll need the county
Okay.
sheriff to help us. And so we can visit with the county
Okay.
sheriff, but we'll need them to close the county road.
Okay.
Because they have jurisdiction over, they can do that for us.
Okay.
And I'm sure we'll make sure that we can get there. We can help with that.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Discussion about throwing candy. What does everybody think?
I would just say, I know little kids love to participate, like if you had like a dance group or something, say the Edge Dance or whatever, decided they were gonna be in the parade, I would say that they have to have a chaperone with them.
Yes.
Walking with them, they can't just.
and no on and off,
No on and off.
off the floats.
Yeah,
That
they
was the
have
issue,
to.
I believe, in Davis County.
Some have, and we don't have this because we may be able to do it for future years and grow into this. But on the parade route, some cities will have their white line for the pedestrian or the solid white line for bike lanes or something like that, the outside white line. And they can train people to stay behind it. That's what Hiram does for theirs. They try to say, hey, we've painted this white line down the main street, and they go back and forth telling people stay behind. And that works. We don't necessarily have that at this point. We don't have a striper that can come at that point. Potential. I'd have to look at that. Just thought we could look at. We don't.
Again, I mean, it's 5 blocks is what we're working with, right?
Yeah, I don't know that we'd have. I mean, chalk and paint's been in a shortage, but there's potential. It's something we can grow into, and we're working for. This is a long-term event.
Right.
We think you're doing a great job on a long-term event. So there are some of those. I will tell you, I think they've done an amazing job. I will tell you that you can't hire passion for an event as such to keep it going. I think you've all heard that I'm a big believer in citizen-driven celebrations and the staff to help you do that. But you can see the passion and love these women have for this, and they are the right ones and the right ones to lead that. I am so supportive. So they should know I am a total supporter.
names or? It was it's all about the talk. Yes, we would like to know the answer to this question actually as well.
Nicole and I know each other, and I said, you are like the right one.
And then Harry Kirk. So we got both together and here we are.
Nicole said, I'll do it if you'll do it. And I'm like, well, I'm only doing this if you're doing this. So I
And
guess.
we're both Main Streeters, you know, we're Main Streets, just have the best people. Totally thinking,
You
Providence.
both live on, you both live on.
Avoid away from each other.
Yes, it
No, I'm on
is.
second, South Second.
This, we have like a great committee. I wish they were all here because they really are doing such a great job on this. It's gonna be.
They've just recruited the finest,
It is gonna be a
that we
really great
have.
time. So
and they're all Providence citizens
All of them, oh, absolutely.
that are on this committee.
Some of
So
them have been here a long
How many years are you committing to? Before you turn the keys over to someone.
I said, this isn't gonna go on my headstone that I'm not doing this,
You'll give it a good.
That's like us.
but this is a gift that we want to see this for our city. And we hope that we're creating something our kids want to bring their kids to. That's what Nicole and I's hope is that we create something that really has a good momentum and a good spirit and people want to come.
Okay,
People look
I'll
forward to
stay
it.
for 2 or 3, 4,
I-
5.
I hope they commit to once a
We've
year.
already talked about next year, but I won't say that we've talked beyond next year.
Well, and something else too that I want to tell people, so that people know our amazing history. The historic, I want the preservation, committee is amazing, and they will be there that night, Thursday evening. With handouts and things like that, ready to share with the city. We also are possibly going to have walk-ins printing, have some of the Providence and Her People books ready to sell. We're gonna work on that, because people don't even know they're there. And it's a wonderful, those books were amazing.
I've bought both of them now
And you know what's crazy though, is 1, 2, and 3, the
Where's
first two.
one?
there was only 1 and 2 when I went.
well,
There's-
they
there's 2 and 3, right?
Okay, so I have.
But the red one is.
They
1 and 2
combined 1
together.
and 2.
Okay. I was gonna say, wait a minute.
Yeah. And it's.
Fabulous.
So stuff like that, we need to,
Well, we really need to push it so that people get
Yes.
that and understand our
we
history.
share the banner. We will have a banner on First North, a 25-foot banner across 40. Which is 40, that's right. I'm sorry, I'm confusing my. And it'll be across the whole, that will have the dates on it, but hopefully we can just use it again next year with some.
Vinyl lettering.
Hey, Brad,
That's what we're hoping
when
for.
did the original sauerkraut party start? What's
That's-
the German and the
that's the-
sauerkraut
It's
tie
the
there?
point
Is
of
it-
contention, whether the first ward or the second
Yes.
ward.
But the
And
second
I'm
ward.
the first
Kathleen.
ward and she's the second ward.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
But the
they're
second
both
ward,
represented.
but the second ward has continued.
That's very
to
diplomatic.
Today. Every November, the second ward still has that. I would say-
Well, the LDS church used to have a budget amount that everyone had to give to build buildings and maintain buildings. And the way they did it was they had a bazaar. And the bazaar had quilts and pies and all kinds of things to sell so that we could have, so people could, the church could make money. And so
Oh, the sauerkraut dinner and bazaars, yes.
Her and my mom.
And
were
they had lines, they had thousands.
Thousands of
truly
people.
Thousands of people.
Well,
And that was
Sheila
right.
doesn't have that much faith in us that we're gonna get very many
Friday
people
night,
there.
and
So now our entire goal is just to prove Shayla wrong, because everything is like, people aren't coming, right? And I'm like, oh.
Oh, but they are. But
You
they are.
have.
Them's
you
are
have
fighting words.
the wrong women.
We've spent a lot of, I would say, hours on foot, and we have a lot of.
Nicole has been going to Summerfest and Wednesday market and Saturday market
With my
with flyers and asking for vendors and and we actually, if any of you, we have extra small handouts and a little bit larger handouts. If you know of a place that would
Like to
want to
display
put
them.
a poster up. If you go into a business option or see a community board that you think would be a good location for a
Well,
poster.
I'd love some social media graphics or
have-
little lifestyle photos that have been shot that can just be shared or something
So
like that.
Angie has loaded a couple of previous, we haven't had sauerkraut days in a few years. So we don't have any really recent, but on the landing page I mentioned earlier, Angie has put a few snapshots from previous, and Nicole's been doing a Facebook page. There is a Providence City Sauerkraut Days Facebook and Instagram that you are welcome to like and share.
Oh, okay.
And she's been highlighting sponsors and the history of sauerkraut days and things like that on the.
And now daily it will be happening.
And so the next newsletter will have a big article.
And we're hoping
That includes
that
all this
we could
stuff.
be on the front page, hopefully half of it.
Well, there's only one page in there.
So I did have a question about the social media posts, because I have been following your accounts.
Yeah.
I cannot post them on my city Facebook page because they're not listed as public. They're shareable. I can share them on my personal page, but I cannot share them
We mark
on my
global,
city page.
global, so.
Okay, so say that, so instead of public.
I mean, remember that you were worth what you cost, right?
I don't know exactly what the setting is. Maybe Josh can say, you know.
No, it's just a global setting.
We're not
You can
like-
change it from like followers to like globally shareable. It has a little look.
You know what?
On Facebook.
I will have my husband on it tonight.
You'll do it.
Yeah, I haven't even resolved.
I'm excited. I have
feel like
never
it's very-
eaten sauerkraut, so this
Oh,
will be
yeah,
the
all
first.
that.
Or-
Never had it.
Yeah.
The first year ever.
No, they're adding,
Are they making sauerkraut
Okay.
cake?
they are not.
Thing?
That, actually,
It's good.
sauerkraut is
I
like a,
said about how to-
or a, you know, it takes on that other flavor.
It's the kind of cake that you don't tell them what it is.
You know, I will have to say this will be a little bit different. This is still spicy, right? We said, but this will have a little bit of red onion and some carrot in it as well, which is kind of fun. Yeah, so our sauerkraut, oh, look.
Ryan,
So now, do you guys want to see a
Do
really
you
cool
just
trick?
pass around like a communal cup?
Oh,
and
yeah.
they all just
That's
go
how I
at
do
it?
it.
Well, then that's
That's how I do mine.
It's mass, yeah.
Will there be sauerkraut recipes
Oh,
available?
Oh, here.
Brent was just telling me he has a collection
Hey,
of
I need a
recipes.
photo.
Pretty fabulous.
It is to make the social media post right
Yes,
now.
Nicole, we got pictures of that.
This is perfect. The mayor eating the inaugural sauerkraut pie.
Is it good? Okay. All right.
Much more. It's like kimchi, though.
Yeah.
Smell like kimchi.
It's not, okay, you would know, I'm not, I.
Oh, take us to the bowl. You can't dip it in that one. You can't have another one. It's a big one.
Should I just go?
Ryan, you didn't put your spoon in for yourself, I know.
That's the spoons I had. I'm sorry. That's the spoons I had. I have a case of sauerkraut for you in the stuff.
It's better than I thought it would be. I think it'd be really good if it was hot, really hot. spicy.
And she needs that. He's like the in-kind.
So we had originally recommended, and Ryan helped us get, we had
And it's good for you, right?
with Frank sauerkraut, because it's not sold locally, and it's one that we thought could be like a really good offering.
But again,
than what you
it
can
helps your way to it.
It's good for your gut, right?
Way better, which is different. It's like, it's for the start.
Is it good for your gut? Does it have like probiotics or microbes or something?
Well, anything with like.
Fermented, it's good.
Like if you.
It's good for you.
Layer.
Then they let it make all over.
That's my very first time.
Well, I did my research. All right. Gotta try it, my friend, and you gotta try it.
I like mine on a broth. On a
Yeah.
broth. I will have it on the broth, but
I know you don't like us to eat at the dice, but we did.
We make an exception to that.
So we approve.
Yeah.
Are you signing up for something?
Well, as soon as I get a pen that writes and on Apple Pencil, I will.
Now, one of the other things that we did years and years ago, there was 3 nights of it. So first night was the bazaar and capers.
Except for one, I'm.
And what?
Capers.
Capers?
Yes.
Like
this
the
is
road
where-
shows.
This is
Oh,
where, yeah, we
oh,
perform
okay.
plays, I mean, different groups.
You say
perform.
road show and I like start crawling in my skin.
It wasn't really a road show.
Get a nervous tick.
I'm like, because you're the crowd.
It wasn't
How are you over there?
it wasn't really a road show.
Okay.
It was just the war. It was done, probably the first war, we did the first one night, and then we fed the public 2 nights, Friday night and Saturday night. And we'd feed about 1,200 a night. And everybody got a turkey to cook, and everybody had sauerkraut to cook. And then they said we couldn't cook it at home, so, you know, it changed, it evolved, and it changed, and they had to come and take the temperature and that, and then it kind of put the damper on it, but you know, there weren't too many people died, half a dozen or so, but other than that,
And we're fine to sacrifice half a dozen. I mean, that's what I'm all about.
But that's why we have a lot of the old, we are mixing. So at the end, the sauerkraut dinner will be, we are providing a traditional sauerkraut brat and sauerkraut lunch. And dinner on Friday
You know,
night.
the reason they had turkey and sauerkraut, the sauerkraut is because they're German Swiss immigrants, and that's traditional. They had a crock of sauerkraut on the table all the time. And they did turkeys because they grew turkeys around here.
Alders grew a lot of turkeys.
A lot of turkeys.
A lot of turkeys. In
Yeah.
fact, where Dorothy Murphy lives, they used to be all turkey sheds in behind in that block.
I think they left a couple. Big ones roaming around.
Some of them escaped.
Some of their
Like,
ancestors,
there's some big 40-pound
take
birds
our
that
notes.
just are
Oh, yeah.
free range.
their ancestors.
And that's not my
are
children that I
pushing
talked
them
about.
in
They
here.
are
Actual turkey.
We actually spoke to Jonathan, Brent, to actually say hello from Jimmy. Jimmy, that used to work with you. And
Yes.
he knew your sauerkraut, you would make sauerkraut in the dairy or in.
Oh, yeah. We used
So
to
he
make
will
it.
be a vendor. He will be a vendor at sauerkraut days.
That's
James, that
cool.
we had
Okay.
Tonight.
Yeah.
So
That's
he wanted
great.
to say hello. And he
That's great.
remembers, so he was really
I'm looking
excited.
forward to it. He used to work for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, people go to Hiram for Lewiston for the 4th of July, but they come to Providence for the middle of August for sauerkraut days.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they will.
Sauerkraut, fireworks, and much more.
We have determined that the third weekend in August be sauerkraut days.
Oh, yeah, is that
we have-
official?
We, absolutely, we have
We got
negotiated
one on a
with
date
different
for-
cities. And we're kind of, the third weekend has absolutely nothing going on. The fourth weekend is,
Because school started, and that means everybody's back in town.
and it won't be that way every year.
Right.
But the third weekend.
And the Aggies aren't playing yet. So we really only have to worry about Ridgeline home games. And this year they're away on that week. So-
Awesome.
Awesome. So the parade might have to move if there's a home game Friday night, but this year when there's not. So take an event that you're excited about attending and talk to people about it and promote it and get people, let's get some people there. Let's prove Sheila wrong.
We're taking.
So Wednesday night, we have city council, so I don't know that any of us can make pickleball. on Wednesday
Okay,
night.
that's okay.
Is that when they're
I
handing
can
out all
make
the
it.
cards? Check out.
There also, I didn't put on there, but if fireworks do happen on Saturday, I have volunteered to miss church on Sunday morning for cleanup. And anyone else that would like to attend
Volunteer to miss
the
church.
the Sunday morning cleanup
Such a
crew,
sacrifice.
I'm happy to take that sacrifice. So, we've been told that the cleanup was quite intense on following our last fireworks show. So it is an effort we are willing to take on.
I will be there.
And Kathleen is also, she's gonna give the opening prayer. So,
Anybody else?
so we're pretty determined on this fireworks show. We're pretty,
What is the, you mentioned earlier that
No,
if it happens, what is the issue?
They have actually already, the fire marshal has met with
Or fireworks?
Well, no,
Oh,
no, they've met with,
the fire marshal and Bob met.
not yet,
Oh, okay.
no, well, to my knowledge, but.
Shaler met with Bob.
Yes.
And
Mhm. And Lev that's over it. But the fire marshal will approve it if the right application and the right licensing is turned in. So other than that, I believe.
And they have to
It's
do
not
the
a
right
budgetary
shell.
issue, it's an
we have
administrative
the
one.
budget for it.
So some of them,
We've made
keep
the
in mind that the size of shell will vary. So you can't shoot off a shell that will fall where a person is.
I did
So,
one of those shows, it is so exciting.
so,
Seriously, the best show I've ever been. Dangerous, but really exciting.
yeah, so at that point, if they put, if they, a lot of them are 6 to 8 inch shells, and we won't be able to get as big of a shell into the area that we can set aside. But a 4-inch, figure 4-inch can go up, I think, 400 feet. And they say that it's 70 to 75 feet per inch of shell that you have to keep people out of. So we wouldn't have activities south of the middle school.
Right.
So at that point, you can fit it in, and then there's always the question of the fire department will always say the permit is only given right before the first lighting. Because if it's windy, it's out. If the weather isn't good, it's out. There is so many different things with it. That's why we always leave the if. Is that fair? Okay.
Well, we
So-
want to be safe and we want you to be safe.
So we were talking about cleanup. Is that cleanup from the fireworks?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've done that before for Logan
And
City,
just
so I
the
can help you
overall-
with that. Is
okay.
that- You want to do it Saturday night or Sunday morning?
Sunday morning, I think is when
Can't see it
it's
at
light and
I
'cause
couldn't, but yeah. But I'll help you.
okay.
Oh, that
Sunday
was-
morning. I'd be
Yeah.
glad to
I
help.
was gonna maybe recruit my husband's young men for him as well.
One of those things that you need, like an art, you need a lot of people to do
Yes,
it.
and
Yeah.
like an
Yeah.
entire congregation. You know, the one that meets on Sunday morning.
We could even, yeah, we can go to other churches in Alpine. But we really would like the whole city park to be walked through as well. Not, I mean, the fireworks is, but just the whole general area. So,
Make sure it's cleaned up.
yeah,
So what time?
8, I'd say 8 AM.
Sunday morning, 8 AM.
We'll be sending
I'll
out,
write your name down
they'll
here.
be sending out
Sunday.
information.
Right about.
21st.
So I am fully willing to be there till the cleanup is done.
But you'll.
So-
Hey, we almost got out of here in an hour tonight.
Okay.
So I'm
we'll
thinking
stop-
on
we'll stop
Wednesday,
talking.
pickleball.
So there's
You-
a,
you
there's a
plan the agenda
beginner,
to-
I believe it's a round robin tournament Tuesday for beginner, and then intermediate is Wednesday for the round robin tournament.
Or we could get out. at
And so
7:30 and
there's
get over
winners
to-
both nights.
Yeah,
See the
there'll be
winners.
three winners, three
Alright.
teams.
That's why we said 12. Okay. Anyway, any other questions?
Thank you. Awesome.
No, you guys are fantastic. Oh, I did have one more question. Sorry. I forgot it and I
We
remembered
can
it
keep it,
just in
hey,
time.
we like.
Is there a family registration rate for the fun run or is it individual?
It's individual, because we did $10 per person, because we wanted to give away, like, we wanted the swag bags to be like, good. So the cup, the commemorative cup will also be in the swag bag.
Yes.
And then also some other, Culligan has a water bottle they're putting in and some other stuff. Okay.
And you can buy the hats too,
You
right?
can buy the hats. We have the hats and shirts, both for sale, and the cup. If you're committing to clean up, there's probably a hat with your name on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote the name.
And they're
down.
adjustable, they're adjustable, they're stretchy. I think
So, thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Hey, here's your sign up sheet. I'll just be there the whole time, so.
I know, I'm like, I think we're just camping out, family. Just
You know,
pack
what?
some
Bob
snacks
wants,
and
Bob
here we
wants
go.
to sign up.
Are there,
Look at that, the mayor community, you came
Are there
right to
places-
meeting, the right day.
are there places where you're gonna put those signs out?
Yes. One at your corner?
One at my corner would be very good, because it catches a lot of people going up on the bench.
You can
So
put it in my
we're gonna
corner
put
too.
those out the week.
I'm at the
And
Tia
put-
Center.
Put it on mine too.
In my corner,
We're gonna put,
for
so,
the future roundabout.
so when is your next meeting?
A while.
If I drop some of these at the city office, would you pick one up to put in your yard?
Yeah.
Would you guys do that?
So when we know they're
That's fun.
there.
We know they're there, yeah.
The sticks are here, and we're going here. So we're going to, I'll bring some of these, and if each one of you would take one to put in your home, that would be great. And we're going to put them up on the Sunday before they start.
And you have the wire stands.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
We'll be sending reminders. By the end of this week, we will have all those events on proper.
You have a scanner that you can scan that and send it to me, the schedule.
You want a copy?
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes, but.
Well, this filled out. It needs to go to the
Oh,
planning
okay.
commission so that they can sign up as well. So if you'll scan it and send it to me, I'll make sure that happens.
Talk about it. If we can find white paint. If we can find white paint,
Well, really, where-
it's a shortage.
So we have.
There's a shortage of white paint, if you believe that. But there's something we can do.
The shirt is cute, isn't it?
It is.
And the logo.
Okay.
I'll advertise to the north end.
Oh, you're at Green Canyon.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's okay. I'll still
So
want to
we
come.
have,
They'll want to come.
Are they in other cities?
Oh,
we
yeah.
have one
Yeah.
assignment of advertisements. If anybody wants some to take to people. Is there one in the library?
Yes, there is.
I do, yeah, there's one in the library.
I actually think if you advertise that you will have sauerkraut for sale in bottles, you will get the public there. Because
Okay.
that's why they quit
That'll
coming.
go on tonight. We just barely got the logo finished and everything. That'll go on the website tonight, or
I will say that when I interviewed for a job, that I was sent home with a swag bag that was as good as any. And sauerkraut was definitely included. So I have had that when I interviewed for this job. So when it was important then, and I was ready for it. So when I knew coming into this, when they interviewed, everybody that interviewed got it. Well, I don't know about the city council, but the city manager, when they gave it out for the city managers. Good job.
Okay. Are you gonna leave some here?
Yeah, where do you?
You just leave them on the end there. We'll take them when we go.
I actually ran into Eagle Esther's daughter today. It was actually my friend. She was pretty excited.
That's good.
My mom works for Providence City.
Awesome. Well, we're all excited to do this.
So-
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're excited.
Oh, I am pretty excited. I'm like a Providence City, like, winter, right?
Yeah, she grew up here,
I did, and my family has settled.
left for a while and came back voluntarily.
Our mom loves sauerkraut.
My mom makes it yearly
I do.
in Pat Brager's crop.
I make mine a barrel. I got 42 heads grown.
Wow, that's a lot.
And if any of you, like, we talked with her. Sorry,
Well, what
we would love, so you guys probably not on a float, but we want you guys, we're just gonna put on you coming. Like,
right,
or
walking
you know,
along.
the city,
We probably need,
you need to,
Talked about that.
okay, give me one. please.
maybe what?
You're our city royalty.
Yeah, I don't know, I will
say
say,
royalty, so now you're in. I want you all in ball gowns, everyone.
Ball gown with a tiara?
no, yeah, I would just think we would
That's-
love the city truck to maybe start the parade. I think having a Providence City truck.
Are the scouts gonna do the color?
Kathy, well, she's working on doing some horses for Rondell,
Oh,
possibly, so that might. That's a good idea.
The scouts that are doing the pancake breakfast, I'm sure. probably could maybe do the
Oh, absolutely.
parade part.
I just thinking we should probably have a city truck.
You should break out all the purple lights that go and wrap them around the truck.
I think we can make that happen. I think we just got a 10-wheeler delivered that is brand new.
Oh, yeah.
And I think if it's there and ready, I don't know whether we'll have signage on it, but we can work on that and see if we can have something in it. Now,
It would just be nice to represent the city.
I think there's, I would encourage the council have some type of float, but I think the staff, I think we could figure out something as far as either a truck, either a 10-wheeler or something, as we've increased and improved our fleet. There's something probably. We've pushed Strata, they should have it, and I've talked to everyone. I've tried to talk to every one of the ISPs to see if we can get them in. So I am pushing some of those.
I will have a booth out down there.
Broadband,
Okay.
the other one who was having the booth.
Good.
And there's the guy put his flyers on the table, get him to do something.
The Advanced Stream should. He's bought here. He's bought a home here. And
I haven't heard from him.
okay.
I sent the invitation to all the people, the addresses you
Okay.
gave me.
So at that point, I've tried to push those ones because that's something that's going on actively in our community. And so anyway,
Strata took and Beehive Broadband definitely took advantage of that opportunity that was given them, but I haven't heard from anybody else at this time.
You guys think we should be on the float or are you helping with this walking?
I would
As a
like to
council.
walk and see people and
not
talk
very
to
long.
them.
It's,
It's like walk.
youth council has the float, right?
the youth council has the float.
Hopefully you would wagon. Get your wagon decorated. Yeah.
For your lawnmower
He's gonna have knee surgery, so he'll be there.
But
Give him
Great.
pickup sticks to pick stuff up. Thank you so much. We're just excited to do it. And, you know, if all of us call 10 people and say, please come. Have you involved the state presidents at all? Ryan, you've got them, don't you?
First word will be doing a
State president. Okay. Seth has contacts with the state president.
The other one, they sort of.
Well, we can get contact with state presidents, yes.
It's okay. They want to let their people know to do this kind of thing.
We have
So
three
like our
states.
primary is putting one in, upload in.
But the state presidents, they can give the okay for them to advertise, to let the wards know to participate in. So,
We also have another church, sure, it's a non-denominational church down here.
It's by Airbound, right?
Right by Arizona. And they, I believe, will be doing a float as well. So we're trying to involve all of the communities.
yes. Okay. Thank you. You don't need to stay the rest of the meeting. You're welcome.
Glad we can do the live one, but-
You were the light.
That was very good, thank you.
Okay, and because Providence is sponsoring this, do you want one of these out front of the city building?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I believe there's an H stand here, Harry.
You'll just leave it.
So
We
I'll
got it.
leave this downstairs.
We got enough 8 stands. We got lots of, we amassed them.
Okay, I will be getting some when we go and take them around.
Let us know.
Get some.
You'll see them all over now. The sponsors.
Okay. Like Scarlett said, we need something that says we're going to have bottled.
Oh,
sauerkraut.
absolutely. That'll be, like I said, we just got these today, this logo today. So, that will be all over.
But that's why people will come, is
Well,
because they like the homemade.
I believe the
So
last
on
time,
our schedule of events, maybe we could add bottled sauerkraut for sale.
yeah,
And you better have a lot of it. Because
And you have no
I kid you
idea.
not, I have seen us gone through 1,200 cans of sauerkraut in one night.
Yes.
Well, okay, so I need to give that information to.
And
Now, I don't know if it will be that big because of what we used to have, but I have seen us go through 1,200 cans in one night.
And Bear River Bottling is really doing this. as
We
a
can
favor
save the
to
leftovers
us.
for next year.
So I hope that it's successful for them.
We took that, because again, I mean, and Charlotte told me, because this was a big deal when we couldn't do it anymore.
it was,
It was
the end of the thing.
Made all the difference in the world.
It did, and so this was our main goal, was to do this. And so Bear River Bottling again is doing a favor. They will be there with a booth, selling all their stuff to people, like down to, the Island Market, Lee's Marketplace, Macy's, I believe, sells his product. He is fantastic.
Are they in the natural grocers too?
Yes, oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. They're, I think their kitchen's right by National Grocery. Or, sorry, Island Market is where they sell a lot of their products.
Yeah, they have a huge stand full of their sauces and everything, and they're fabulous.
Where are they located at? The
In
factory?
Logan. He actually, you guys, he is up at Utah State.
He probably uses their kitchen up there. They've got,
No,
He has
he
his
doesn't-
own commercial USDA
Oh.
kitchen.
in Logan.
That is cool.
But he is,
But they created this for us. They haven't ever done the sauerkraut before, so they created these recipes for our event.
great test market, right?
It was good sauerkraut.
he's the NPR guy at Utah State. Whether.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Okay.
If you run out of those flyers, then we can get more, but if anybody wants to take some of those, pass them around. Thank you.
We'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay,
That's exciting.
it is exciting. And those two are just the absolute perfect. people to do it. Okay, study items. The RFP, we talked about the garbage, that Logan City is no longer going to pick up our garbage, but we have probably 3 years before we really have to do anything. But the mayors got together and put together an RFP, and we are having a pre-bid meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock in North Logan at the library. And the vendors who are interested in bidding on this RFP, and there are probably 4 that are willing to bid on it. They'll be able to ask questions, and then there'll be 30 days, and we'll get whatever their bid is back in. And from that, then we can make some decisions about what we might want to do about our garbage collection. So we're not bound to this RFP, but the mayors got together and felt like if we had all the cities in Cache County together, that gave us more numbers and perhaps would lower the cost. So that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. But I wanted all of you to know that we'll have a 30-day window for them to put their bids in, and then we'll have.
So as I read the RFP, it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that none of the cities are bound to do it, and they have to actually establish an individual contract with every city. And I thought that was really interesting. I feel like the garbage haulers, I'd be interested to see how they respond to that. Not having it set to be a certain number.
For sure that everybody was going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, they'll give us a bid as though everyone was going to do it.
Is it possible, speaking for Mike, is it possible to create an entity that we participate in with the governing board?
That's what they're talking about doing. But then that entity would be spending money.
And would have some type of administrative functions, and And yeah, I mean, there is that potential. They are talking about creating one.
Will the contract be with that entity then once that's established?
Yes.
It would. Okay.
If that's the right, if that's the way we go. But then this body would have to give permission
Sure.
for me as the mayor to spend our money.
No, I mean,
Well, it would have its own revenue and would have its own collection and its own entity. Yeah, that's potential.
who else is doing or have done
18
something like this?
Entity.
No.
Oh, anybody else in the state?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, in the
checked-
state or somewhere else where it's always hard to do things the first time. So I'm just wondering if anyone's done it.
I've
Yeah.
checked with ULCT and there is no
I don't know.
that has done.
And what about extra Utah, outside Utah? I don't know
I
yet.
did not ask that particular question.
Yeah, I don't even know who we'd ask.
The issue is
I'm
with an 18 city conglomerate, the voting, you may not be always represented at some point. So there might, if there was the proposal of entity was, the South might get 3 votes and there's, 5 or 6 cities that might be considered in the South. And so you could be represented, you could eventually be represented by Wellsville, River Heights, and Paradise. So, I mean, that might be an issue. And if you have one rate, that might be an issue that those that are densely populated having the same rate that those that are sparsely populated, you may have an issue. So I have included with this an analysis as a measuring stick of sorts to say if we were to do our own, this is what kind of with the same rates that Logan has, this is what we'd see. That is because the idea is that the RFP with a large group should be less. So if the price just comes in less than what Logan's charging, then we can measure that, and we could measure that against both what Logan charges and what it might cost for us to do it. And so if that price for all comes in lower than what we could do it for, it would only make sense that we make sure that we do that. So this kind of gives a ruler stick of
Well,
kind of,
here's what we paid the Logan. Here's what maybe we could do it on our own.
Yeah. So there's intent to participate, but since we don't know what that looks like, everyone's kind of like, let's just kind of sit back here and watch and
Well, let's
see
get
how the
some
wind,
bids. Let's see
see
what
how
it
the wind's
does.
gonna blow a little bit and then we'll decide.
Right.
there is some of that going on.
So it seems like we should, time is important in this, the clock's ticking, so.
Well, it's tomorrow and then they'll have 30 days.
Yeah,
Bob has a comment. Maybe he comes from, he's been on governing boards that maybe have grappled with this.
I'm Bob Washburn, citizen.
Well, he's planning commission member.
A couple of things. I spent my career in finance for government defense contracting. Most of my time in pricing, new business acquisition, providing pricing for RFPs. And I can see a problem here for the potential contractors. If I were to price something and I had no knowledge that everybody was going to participate, then my price would reflect the risk associated with that. Okay, because I can't put out a bid that's a lower bid, assuming that everybody's going to join, then half of them don't. And it's all the little communities are the ones that want in, because that's far more expensive for me. Okay, so if you want a lower price, you need to get buy-in from everybody that we're going to do this, because the larger communities are going to subsidize the smaller communities. spread out communities. And if that's what we're gonna do, then that's what's gonna happen. Everybody needs to know that. But you will get a much better price if you can guarantee that, that everybody's gonna participate.
Right. You know that.
On the other hand, in Colorado, we had a regional council of governments that I didn't participate in. I just hear it on the news once in a while. And I know that in a region, we had governments participating as a group. I have no idea how they work that, but I know that's why I asked you the question before. If this is a formalized,
We're talking about
entity.
making it formal,
Right.
but it is not at this point in
Right.
time.
And so I know that happens, and I could try and call somebody and find out if I can get some more information about how it worked in Colorado if you're interested, but
That might be helpful, actually.
okay, I'll make some calls and see what I can find out.
We have interlocal agreements between different entities, as an example in Cache Valley. Our health department is a interlocal agreement between the different counties. We have several in kind of in that realm. But oftentimes they're regulatory, but this is a service. I mean, this is discussing an entity providing a service, and yours, I'd be curious at how many of those provided service and weren't regulatory or cooperative. Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know what their scope of goal is.
We have a council of governments. The COG is a council of governments. He's talking about that is established here in Cache Valley as well. So
This would be
it's everybody but Logan.
this entity would be, I assume this would be the revenue collecting entity and paying the expenses and everything else.
Right.
There's
So
some things
it
that are
would have to
fundamentally
include some-
different
Right.
than,
It would have to include staff
yeah.
that would be able to do that. You know, we'd have to pay a transfer station to do that,
Yeah, I mean,
Garbage-
it's
a dump.
setting up a whole business and
right,
servicing entities and making sure they're represented.
Right.
So
Very,
that-
very
That
complicated.
brings up the question, is the proposed plan for them to have a disposal site as a contractor, or would they be dropping it at Logan's disposal site?
it depends on how they want to handle it. That's part of the RFP. And they would have potentially a transfer station. And it may or may not go to Amalga. Maybe we'd put it on, as Ryan said,
You mean the
we put it on
Clarkston,
a.
yeah.
Oh,
Those are the
Clarkston?
Clarkston.
Okay.
So close.
We could maybe put it on a rail car, send it down to the middle of Utah. That might be cheaper than sending it up here. So the companies are gonna have to
They're gonna have
determine
to
how they're,
determine how they
right.
dispose of
it will
that.
be up to them to say, here's the least expensive way for us to do it. And I suspect that they'll come back and say, if we get this many people, here's the price.
And when you talk about green waste, I think if Logan was still willing to take the green waste
That's what I understand.
at a price.
Oh, but
Not collect it, right?
Logan is wanting out of the collection business, but I think they would take any of the different ones at a varied price.
They just don't want to pick it up.
So the one point that, remind me your name, I'm sorry.
Bob.
Okay, but that Bob brought up, that it's not just gonna be a volume in terms of residents, though. I mean, there really is gonna be higher costs for various cities, and residents of those. That's what's gonna be strange about this. The participation of the individual cities will play a significant role in what the cost of that contract is.
Well,
Yeah.
in Providence, you go from house to house. to
Oh,
house to
yeah,
house.
yeah.
Out
County
in
to run miles.
Amalga or Clarkston, you have to go miles between counties. So the cost is
It's just
different.
always weird. It's gonna go out, and I think a lot of people, to Janelle's point, they're just not gonna quite know what to do with it.
Well, but during this RFP process, they've all gotten information. They know what we're asking for. They can see all the statistics that they need.
So you
in order
have
to
four
decide.
And we, I mean, it may wanna go, I
I
don't
think
know.
we've got 4 people that are interested. Well, This is a market that has been closed because it's just been open. There's been no competition. So Ryan, you had a comment?
I just want to let you know that the mandatory pre-bid for it is tomorrow. So at that point, that would be the contractors would come to evaluate and ask additional questions. And so the next step in the process is that any interested hauler that would want to bid on, that would want to respond to the request for proposal would be mandatory to attend that meeting if they want to respond to that RFP. That's what tomorrow is. No, that is the 10 o'clock meeting.
Okay, so sorry, that's fine.
Yes, so that's the
10 o'clock meeting.
Oh.
and then the respondents would have 30 days, as I understand, to put together their proposal, and they could probably submit questions throughout that period of time. I have recommended, and it is tradition, I've also been in hundreds of these things as you have. It is tradition that the questions would be compiled and the answers given, or answers compiled and then given out to the public, and especially those the respondents that attend that meeting. They'll get those throughout that 30-day, and at the end of the 30-day, they would submit, if they choose to, submit a proposal. And one of those questions might be, how do we assure that we have all 18, or some of those other things might come out and flush out in that. But tomorrow, any interested bidder has to attend that meeting.
If they don't attend, they cannot submit a bid out.
That's correct.
Do you know that at least 4 haulers are attending?
No,
No.
we know that at least 4 haulers have been invited or have been notified of the meeting.
Largely depending on how many people can keep on the line through the whole process.
Yeah.
If you feel if you get one person that wants to try this.
Well, that was my understanding when I read the RFP, is that it said we won't award a bid before a certain amount of time, but we may not award a bid at all.
Right, and that's common.
We might want to put, we may not like the outcome of it, we may put it out again, right?
Right. We had that with our pickleball courts. They came in so high when we had that, and we only had one respondent that we said, no, we're not gonna award. So that could also be the result. We at this point, Mayor and I, and hopefully the rest of the council will help and support us. We have supported the idea of going through the 18 and see how far it gets. But if it doesn't, being prepared that we would be prepared to issue our own RFP after that if it doesn't work, or be able to have enough knowledge that we could enter the market ourselves. And so we could do either of those and do that if we wanted.
All of the
So
cities are collecting information. But we had this option to come together as a group of 18 and
I did want to say, I appreciated that the option of including greenways in the bid was included in there, because I think our residents want us to work to maintain the level of service if we can. Now, obviously, garbage is priority over recycling and green waste, but I did like that it was provided in as an option to include them in the bid. Because if we can maintain the same level of service.
I think the green waste cans are a great idea. I'm not so keen on the dumpsters, because I think once people have it loaded, they just will take it down themselves. Rather than haul it up there, dump it, we can send somebody up to pick it up. Green waste cans, well, you can put in your green waste can, pick it up. Yeah, that's great. But this idea of them hauling it up there and dumping it, when they get full, they dump it on the ground, and it's a mess.
and it's harder. When I take stuff, it's harder for me to take it out of my truck and put it in the dumpster than it is to go to the dump and kick it all off.
Just push it out the back.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's.
If
still-
we didn't have that green waste dumpster there, would it be an option for additional parking at Vonderhaar Park? Or would it be more?
Lots of options, right? It would be lots of options. If we went into it on our own, we might need it for bays. We could possibly use for parking. Yeah, there's a variety of options if the green waste wasn't there. Sure.
It's kind of interesting. It does, in my opinion, it's a cool park, and we have plans for it. It's not like the green waste things there, but it just kind of junk up the whole entrance, right? It doesn't feel like entrance to the park.
People
Like, am I in the
spill
right
stuff.
place here?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
I mean, there needs to be some screening and other stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I just have
Okay.
one question. Is
Bob,
Logan,
thank you.
is Logan
for your
being
feedback.
helpful with this whole process? Because they seem like they're the experts. They've been doing this. They've been managing the whole thing.
We've answered
They have all the
questions that
numbers.
we've asked.
Any question I have asked, they've answered. They have been helpful to me if I've asked a question.
They provided us with
So I would go talk to them.
Yeah,
They
we've
have
all
all the
done that.
numbers and.
Yeah, we have.
Can anybody speak to the legislation that Holly referred to in the email here, Dean, about what, I mean, she implied that there was legislation that was driving this, but even if it was repealed, it would still be a 3-year runway.
I can or you can, whichever.
At the 11th hour at the legislature, Casey Snyder proposed a bill that would make it so that the city cannot make any money off of the landfill.
Well,
How
the
exactly is that stated?
yeah, at this point, it says something to the effect that if there is a city which owns a landfill that is farther away than a certain number of miles, then the money that is collected for the landfill must be delivered to the county that the city resides within. And it only applies to counties of the 3rd class and a city of the, whatever Logan is. Yes, very much so. It was targeted, and at that point, it said that it would become effective July 1st of 2023. And so that's where our year came. And the bill not only was proposed, it was just added to another bill, and it passed and got signed by, it was approved by both houses of the legislature and signed by the governor. So it is law. So it became law, and it took Logan from a 2-year option that they were just wanting out to if we can't receive any revenue by any tippage fees going to the landfill, then we're not going to operate a landfill there, because if there's no tippage paid, or if the tippage all goes to the county, which truly it would go to the county, and the county would have to remit that back to Logan. At some point, it just adds the county in as a handler of the funds. We have other examples of that. RAPS tax goes through them, collects from our city, goes through them, and they distribute it out. COG funding goes through them, and they distribute it back out. There are other avenues that happens like that, but that's what happened. And Logan is working with the county and Casey to have that removed. Now, Casey is on the rules committee, and it's believed that he has enough power to be able to strike that in a new bill. But again, the bill was passed by both the House and Senate and signed. He would have to run another one that went and would go through both House and Senate and get signed in order to repeal that piece. It's not just, he can't just line item it. He doesn't have that ability. So
when Logan found out about that, it upset them, and they said, we're not giving you 2 years, we're only giving you a year to do it. So we're trying to get that repealed. Everybody's kind of working toward making that agreement and getting it repealed, but you have to recognize that the legislature doesn't meet again until January. So unless they have a special session, so.
And it would be rare to have a special session for such a, for one little
Logan's
thing.
garbage.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting situation. It just got slipped in there at the last minute and everybody said, we want to go home. Sure. We'll find out.
Well, Casey knows why. I mean, I'm sure that he realizes that, and there's reasons why.
I'm sure Casey's paid for having done that, but it helped us because but then it brought Logan a little bit more to the table. And then we wanted to do so. Okay, so we just wanted you to be aware of that. This is a public meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So anybody that, if you want to go and listen, you can. It's at the North Logan Library. It starts at 10 o'clock.
Did you want to talk on the joint Logan and county meeting, what that one is?
Thursday night at 5:30 at the solid waste building that's down on Second North. There is going to be a joint meeting between the city and the county, the city of Logan and the county, and they're going to be discussing solid waste. I haven't seen an agenda. I have no idea. Has anybody else seen one? Ryan, have you seen an agenda?
I don't, but I just got an email from one of the other city managers that that indicated that the meeting maybe have been canceled. So I don't know whether you've seen that or
I
not.
didn't see.
So
I haven't seen my emails before.
anyway, but at this point, that's the plan for us unless otherwise noted. So
So not sure exactly what they're going to talk about, but that it's there and you're welcome to go, but you may want to call me or Ryan and to see if it's actually going to happen.
If you know it's been canceled, you just throw out an email.
I will.
Okay, staff reports. Let's quickly go through those. We were on a roll there for a minute. But I think the time we spent with the sauerkraut festival was worth it.
They deserve that.
Yeah, because they've done a great job. So who wants to go first?
We generally start with Public Works and we have it in our list order. Rob is not here, he's on vacation, and so we
Good for
appreciate him that he's gone. So I think it was in the mountains. There, that's right. So anyway, he is gone. I will report on a few of those things in mind, but wanted to excuse him from the meeting. Appreciate his work, but thank him that he was able to take a vacation. And so anyway, we always support those so that they can come back and be refreshed. So anyway, let you know that there is, and then we'll go to Charlotte.
We were very fortunate. I think at the last meeting, I reported that our stormwater person had been heavily recruited by another city, and to the point that they made an offer that was not something that he felt like he could walk away from. And so we just really, I don't like to see anybody go, but this one really frustrated me because we had a very good system working and he was a good member of our team, and wish him the best of luck. But I think we found another person that is going to do a really good job. They will start next Tuesday. And so luckily we didn't have very much downtime. And Mitch has said that he will come back, and he and I actually talked with Nibley city manager, and he said that they would allow Mitch to work with us so that we can bring this new person up to speed. So I think that will be a great thing. So we will get back on the beam with our stormwater and a new employee all at one time. We're working on code compliance and nuisance complaints. And one of the things that I'm getting a lot of frustration with this year, something to at some point think about, because I've had other cities calling us as well, are big trailers, RVs that are out on the right of way constantly. They don't have a place to park them in their homes, or near their homes, and so they're in our right of ways. We are trying to follow up with that, but our part, you have to realize if somebody complains and said, I talked to Scarlett and she didn't do anything, all they did was move it, That's all they have to do. Our parking ordinance is 48 hours. So if they move it and then they park it again, it can sit there another 48 hours. And that's unfortunately the game we play during the summer, but I have started sending letters out on that. And if they ignore us, then we do get the deputies involved, and the deputies are good to work with us and give us backup and support on that. So we are working on that. I spoke with the fire marshal, or the deputy fire marshal that works with us a little bit earlier today, and he let me know that they will be really watching our area, particularly the southeast bench, because apparently we did have a fireworks problem I was out of town this past weekend.
I think it was a shooting. I think it came from a gun. Was it a firework? I thought it was firearms, yeah.
That was in Providence Canyon.
Oh,
No, there was one at the top of 10 South.
oh.
Oh, okay. Well, I saw the fireworks driving up. I thought it was the same night as the target.
It may have been, but there was one at the top of 10 South. So
I saw the sign. We have signs up there now.
yes, Aaron said he put a plethora of signs up. I said, okay, hope it helps.
And they're really, really worried about the 24th of July,
Yes,
just because it's so dry. And we had such a wet spring that we've got a ton of vegetation, and now it's brown.
Yeah.
we did. But the fire department, hopefully you will see them out and about, not putting out fires, but helping to prevent their presence, or with the deputies combined. So we'll hope for a really safe weekend coming up, and wishing you all a safe weekend on that. The other thing I'd like to touch on just a minute is that that housing crisis task force that Janelle mentioned, that Cache County, David Zook putting that together, and Sean Milne and John Drew and Karina, they actually did quite a good thing. And in an email that John Drew sent out, he's talking that he and Sean and Karina have been invited to participate in 3 subcommittees of the State Commission on Housing Affordability. Karina will be on temporary assignment to work with Craig Call, the executive director of the Utah Land Use Institute and former land use ombudsman, to replicate our efforts in 13 other Utah metro areas. Craig attended our meetings in person and said we were ahead of the rest of Utah, and was very impressed with what we accomplished. So kudos to everybody on the council that put input into that. I got the opportunity to be a little bit involved with that, and it really was an eye-opening experience to listen to all of the different viewpoints from the different sectors, the private sector, which developers are the private sector, but the private sector, realtors, developers, governmental agencies. It was one of the better organized groups, in all honesty. And I think that maybe it was the time frame that it was on, but
It was just 90 days, so that was 60 days.
And
so
the turnaround, but it really was great. And I do know that the League of Cities and Town Representatives were very much aware of it, and are really pleased with the efforts that we made. So kudos to former Mayor Drew and Sean Milne, right?
yes,
And Karina. They've done a great job. And like I said, thank you for everybody that participated in that. We are a little bit slow in planning commission right now, where Kyle probably chat a little bit about the ordinances, or our codification, kind of waiting until we get that back, and then we'll have our plates full of working on some ordinances to update us with state code and things that changed earlier this spring that in the land use area. So that's where we are at. Just because planning commission's a little slow doesn't mean that the construction world is. They're staying very busy out there. We're getting a lot of residential site plans, and moving forward, we've got a couple of really interesting commercial buildings that will be coming that I'm excited to see. They got great looking plans and some really cool ideas, and there's a lot still out on the table, and Providence is kind of I think we're kind of a little hidden jewel that people are just recognizing, and I think they're gonna really help us shine, these businesses that are coming, so I'm excited to see them.
What about the development? I don't remember the name, it's behind the theaters, between the vet clinic and the theaters.
They had kind of an unfortunate circumstance. One of their primary investor partner type people was diagnosed with, I think, a life-threatening disease. And so they're on hold for a minute until they can regroup. They're not walking away, but they do need to be on hold for a little bit so that you won't see any activity there for a while.
Does anybody know whose material that is that's sitting back on Johnson's property? Is that Logan City's portion? Because the reason I'm asking, because we were concerned about connectivity through that area. And I see a lot of pipe laying in behind in back of LeGrand Johnson. That I'm just wondering, is there anything moving with that piece of property? Does anybody know?
As I understand, they have allowed staging of other people's equipment and supplies.
Just staging.
That I don't know of anything specifically building there.
Yeah. But I think people are utilizing, people that have limited space at their construction site are utilizing that for some of their storage.
Steve Barrett told me they were still, as I talked to him the other night, he said that they were 9 weeks out on any kind of manholes.
Yeah, it's
That's hard.
You can get pipes now, but not.
an interesting world we live in, but they are still managing a way to stay busy, which is good for the economy, good for us. So anyway, thank you.
I have a couple of questions. Do we have some code compliance thing for pools? I had a resident call me yesterday, very concerned about a pool over on Spring Creek Parkway that is constructed and full and
Yes, we do have a fencing requirement. So if you would email me the address, we can get a hold of them and make sure that they get that taken care of. It's in our code, and they do have to have a fence. I want to say it has to be a minimum of 5 feet, but I haven't looked at the code for a minute, so don't put that in stone.
They have it partially
And it has
fenced,
to
but it's
be
like a 3 or 4 foot fence.
It has to have a self-locking gate. We're one of the few cities that require fencing instead of pool covers. And
Don't they have to have a building permit to put a pool in?
they do.
Well, perhaps
So-
they didn't do that either.
We'll have to check into that. That's why if you'll send me the address, we'll check on it and see what
I
happened.
will get it to you. And then the other question I had was about weeds. I know, well, particularly up Spring Creek Parkway, people are walking out on the roadway because the weeds are so high and overgrown along the park strips of unimproved lots.
I've got like 15. That was what Mitch and I were working on,
Cut
and
these down
so
so people can stand the
we are
sidewalk.
we are working to try and get property owners to reach out, and we're reaching out to get property owners to remind them that if they don't take care of things, that they will see fines and other things like that. So we are trying to work on it. The sidewalk along Gateway Drive going towards Logan behind the Swigs and the Chevron area, that's one that needs some care too. I need to get a hold of those people too, but yes, we're working on those, so. He's got a portion, he's involved in it, but I think it's actually a little bit more someone else's, but Deloitte is very much involved in it, so. We get a hold of them.
Great, thank you so much.
Anything else that we need to be looking out for besides overgrown sidewalks and
Uncovered pools.
covered pools?
Unfenced pools.
I just want people to be safe, get on sidewalks. and
We
stuff.
do too. So, and thank you again, and have a very good 24th of July weekend.
You too. Hi.
Let's see. Update on our codification in the final stages. We should have the final draft in its online form within the next 1 or 2 weeks. So we'll probably see that maybe August or September's council meeting. Hopefully those on the committee will they'll go through it again. It'll just be a draft for us to go through and approve. We should see a lot of stuff that we cut out. And as Scarlett mentioned, once we have that live, we'll start going through it and kind of cleaning up a little more. Other than that, we have seen quite a big increase in justice court. I don't know if that's good or bad. A lot more citations. May just be the holiday season. And the judge is in his review stage this month, so he is getting observed. He was the 5th of March. So. Any questions?
And Justice Court meets on Monday afternoon, Monday before at 4.
And who reviews the judge?
I think it's random. They have a committee from Salt Lake, and I think they get residents involved and an official.
It's by the state.
State law requires.
Right, state judicial review, judicial review board goes over it.
Thank you. That's the city manager. That's next in the queue.
Next in the queue. Well, I think one of the biggest things we're under that we're working on at this point is fiber optics. We have connected over 500 connections in our zone 2 that are connected to the house, fiber to the curb connected to the house. So they've been working diligently into that zone to try to wrap it up. We've reached the 30% take rate within that zone, which is what we thought we'd get over the average of all the zones. So that is
30% of 500 is what we have hooked up to home.
30% of the total. I think it's so we have over 200. So it's actually 30%. So we have over 200 homes connected, which is excellent. So the last time we have doubled the last 3. So to give you an idea of our pace at this particular point and the threshold we come to is over the last 3 months reports, we have doubled each of those months. And so that snowball has started to roll and is moving along. The next big accomplishment that we're looking forward to is the pond cabinet for zone 1. And it will be over on Cove Street between Cove and Canyon Road. That is where we're headed, and once we get to there, then we can start to light residents inside of zone 1. So that's the south east section of town. But until we get that pond cabinet lit and completed the correct construction to it and then lit, and then we can come back and start those customers on. That will nearly double the number that are available on our network. So we'll possibly at the next council meeting we'll have doubled again, which would be pretty exciting if we do.
I like the snowball effect.
Yeah, I like the snowball effect. We are currently under construction on First South. That has been a long time coming. When I first came to the city, one of my first meetings I was in was discussion of resolving lawsuits with First South and the property there and some of that. We have made it a long ways for the approval of additional right-of-way that was coming from that resident being proposing and so anyway, that is making a great progress at this point. This week and next, they will replace the water services, and then they will start to put in the storm drain and irrigation lines, and then start to work on the road. So they're going to be under construction, and it'll be a mess for at least the next 2 to 3 months. We're making sure that the residents are aware of that. But if you get any calls from them, let me know. We're trying to work directly with them. So our 1.5 million gallon storage tank is nearing completion. The tank is constructed, it's filled with water. It has the soil on top, and it's been backfilled. We're just finishing up some of the last connecting points to be able to utilize it in the system. It's about a 30 to 35% increase in our storage capacity, which is a pretty big deal for us when we get it on board. So things are going well in the construction realm. A little slower than we had hoped in some spots, but continual progress is what we're working towards, and we're making that. I just add, and I think the stormwater, we did lose a staff member that we thought was a great one, and he was doing well. But our new staff member that's coming on has been in the training and development stage of one of our biggest softwares that we use. And for him to come on board with us is going to be a big deal for us. And so we're excited for the potential he brings to our team, and we're excited for that.
His name hasn't been mentioned yet.
Colton Love.
Okay.
Yep, happy to mention that. I
Is
had
he
him in
coming
the
from out of town?
So he's been working for iWork. So which is what we track our permits through. And
But is
all
that here
those-
in town?
Yeah, that's
Yes,
here.
okay.
Yeah. So, anyway, so things are moving along. Another completion of the master plan. And the work that goes into those is extensive, but makes a lot of difference. And as we build those, we build consistency and build trust that the staff, the council, the public can all know where we're headed with the progress we're headed in those major items. So anyway, any questions you have for me? Anything I can help with? Yes, Brent.
One of the ones in the one of the items in our water master plan was a new roof on Red's Tank. Are we approaching that at all? Are we looking into that?
Yeah, we got a bid. We got 2 bids, and it's in the budget. We're ready to go.
Well, I sure hate to see that get contaminated and have an issue with that.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why it came up. So we've known for a while being within the year. The last time they went through to inspect it, we have it inspected regularly. They found,
I don't, the ones that hang down.
which one's from the ceiling? Stalactite, thank you. All right.
Untitled.
Okay, well, stalactites, they found some stalactites growing and of mineral, so we don't.
Calcium.
Yeah. So that was a sign that there is penetration through the roof. We'll put a bladder on top, replace the material on top, and yeah, we've got our multiple bids, and it was within our current year budgets. We're ready to start in the next few months on that one. So yeah, we're ready. We're trying to make sure that we can get the emergency ones and these that are critical needs worked in, taken care of. And so anyway, thanks. Yep. Other questions?
Thank you for staying on top of all that stuff.
Okay. I will mention that I would ask for a closed session tonight to talk about another potential of land purchase that was approached to me, and I would like to share and discuss with you at a closed session before we talk about, because we will talk about potential negotiation of pricing. So
I would make a motion.
So we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second to go into a closed session?
I'll second.
Second by Josh Paulson. All in favor? Aye. Oh, I don't vote, sorry. I'm used to being on the planning commission when I voted. So Bob, if you find some information, if you wouldn't mind